Welcome to Dreamtime, week 1. So, as we're all seated, I think, from what I can see, take a moment. Let's sit up tall. Let's just go inward. You can get your spine stacked bottom to top, get the crown of your head right over your sits bones, get your feet on the ground if you are sitting in a chair. If you're lying down, that's fine. Just attune with your spine and let it lengthen a little bit. So if you're seated, grow the crown up and let the shoulders sink down. If you want to roll the shoulders a couple times, you want to open the mouth, maybe stretch the jaw a little bit, do a little bit of shifting, and then come back to that tall spine. So feeling the sits bones in your chair, feeling your feet on the ground if they are. Take a nice deep breath. We'll just start there. Breathe in and exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And one more inhale. Maybe hold it. And slowly, slowly exhale and let your awareness sink down to your seat, down to your feet, down to the earth, to your tailbone, to the bottom of your body. And from the spine, let's extend our energy and our awareness down into the earth. So going down through a couple layers, going down through into the center of the earth, all the way down, 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 down. Just let your awareness drop down. You can imagine that the center is a magnet and you're the other part of that magnet, so you can feel that pull. And just let your whole body be grounded. Another good breath. When you're ready to, we're going to come back up. So we're going to continue to hold that sensation of groundedness, but draw your awareness to your belly button and a little bit right above that into your core. And just take a nice deep breath there. And the technical function would be to connect us with our bodies into the Sushumna Nadi, into the spine, the central channel. So we're centered. But just feel your body, the center of your body, and your doing energy, the action, the motivation to do whatever you do, when you want to do it, when you need to do it. And just letting that action energy, that pushing forward energy, sink back into the spine, into the body, and continue again with that connection to the ground. So just sinking back into the body, just as we were drawn to the earth. Let your front body be attracted to your back body. So you can kind of just sit back in yourself comfortably. Take a deep breath. Just see if you can let go of any more little bit of tension in your belly if you feel that. And we'll walk it up. So we're going to come all the way up the spine, staying grounded and centered, all the way up through the crown, into the heavens, into celestial realms, into your birth star, or the center of the universe, or whatever you connect with. So we're still attracted and grounded, anchored on the earth, centered in our bodies. And now drawing up, reaching up for the heavens and inviting them to come to us too. Take some deep breaths again. If the breath is difficult while doing any of these things, just return to your breath. One more deep breath. And staying connected to those three places, bring your awareness back to your center and let's bring it into the heart. And just fill up the heart field. Let it expand as far out as you want. And fill up your energy field. So your bubble, your egg that extends out in front of you, beside you, behind you, down below you, and above you, that contains your energy in a good way. And just let it flex, let it expand as much as you need to. Letting all of this feel comfortable enough. Take a nice deep breath with all of that. And let's bring the right hand to the heart, the left hand to the belly if you like, or your left hand can come to the heart, whatever feels natural to you, to bring your awareness totally back into your body while continuing to be connected and expanded and grounded and centered. Take a deep breath. And exhale and slowly open your eyes. Maybe blink your eyes a couple times. All right, so I'm going to talk just briefly about what's in the bundle that you either have or is on the way. So there's some cedar, which someone pointed out is juniper, which it is. It's a flat cedar. It's not a true cedar. But the point is that it's good for helping us uplift our lives, and the smell helps us kind of bring us up and out of sorrow or grief or just kind of the of life. So that's what it's good for. So if somebody were having a hard time, I would burn a little bit of cedar for them and just ask that they be uplifted. So we're using the cedar every night if possible, if you can remember to do so, for a specific ritual. And whatever you have right now, if you have something else as a smudge or you have a spray, let's go ahead and do a smudge to cleanse our energy a little bit more. Doesn't have to be a big deal. Just give it a little, burn it up a little bit, get a little smoke going. And the cedar is gonna pop, flame, and it's not gonna hold, it's not gonna smoke like white sage would. So you're probably going to need to burn it a couple times if you're really using it intensely. But for our ritual, you won't need too much. But for right now, we're going to smudge our field. So you're going to get that smoke going and start at the bottom. And just use your hand or a feather if you have one, and you'll just pass that smoke over your feet, your legs, up your body, and just bring it up, up, up. So whatever we're clearing and drawing up moves up with the smoke, right? It goes up and out. And, you know, if you want to get really, you know, you could open a window if you really feel like that stuff needs to go. Come over to the left side, come up and overhead, and over to the right side, and just take a little bit off the top and just enjoy the smell. So that's how we smudge ourselves. Sorry, I know the screen is little and you can't see the whole thing. But that's the idea. So you just bring that smoke over the front of your body. And also you can intend that it also takes care of the back, right, as you're doing the front. But you can do this for like 20 minutes and clear up your energy and do a lot of different things and just notice what you're feeling while you pass it through. But for right now, it's just kind of a little, okay, here we are. We're going to clear a little bit of stuff off and come a little bit more into our bodies and be present. So for our Dreamtime ritual, I asked you to bring a hand-made bowl, which I was like, I don't even have one. So I got to make one, but I have several that my partner's made, and it's just really nice when you can have your own stuff that you've made. And this is adobe that one of my teachers, you can buy this clay and it air dries. And I think that that would be something that you could easily make a bowl out of if you really wanted to. Or finding a shell, if you picked up a shell at, the ocean, whenever you got a chance to be there. So when we do our Dreamtime ritual at night, you're going to stand maybe facing your bed. It depends on what feels right to you. And you're going to start in the east with your smudge. And you're going to go around 3 times clockwise with the smell. And we're going to touch on the east, the south, the west, and the north. And then come back to the east and do that 4 times. So it's actually really simple in practice. It doesn't take very long. So you'll either face the east or you'll face your bed, just depends on, it just works out for me because mine, where I stand, I face the east anyway. And you're just gonna think about connecting with the east, connecting with the south, connecting with the west, connecting with the north. And so I'll say for our class tonight, I'm gonna ask that the spirits of the east join us, be with us, and help us have some clarity in our lives. And that the spirits of the south join us and help us to have a little knowledge in our lives and remember what it was like to be in our 20s maybe, or in our teens, our young years when we were learning things, maybe the hard way, but where we got a little bit of knowledge through experience, and then bring it around to the west and connect with the spirits of the west to help us move through our feelings, move through our shadows, to do a little bit at a time, to be gentle with ourselves. So I'm just pulling it back to the west, and then I'm going to bring it around to the north and ask that the spirits of the north join us and help us. Our benevolent ancestors maybe help us in dream time. Maybe it's just the spirits of the north, the ancient ones. Maybe it's the stone people. So that's 2 rounds. I'm going to come back around. And because I'm going a little slow, I'm going to have to relight. But it's just a simple, I'm going to think about these things while I'm moving in this circle as I'm getting ready for bed. And all I'm doing is thinking about the directions and just setting a tone that is the sacred space that I'm going to be sleeping in. I'm going to be opening up to help and guidance like that. And the cedar is just a really nice smell before bed, I think. So that's your ritual. If you can realistically do that every night, give it a try. And if you can't, just do it when you can, and maybe once a week. Just be gentle with yourself and when you remember. So get your altar, bedside set up, have the plant, the bowl, a feather if you use it. So if you were using a feather, you could, let that smoke move as you hold your smudge in the bowl. And move some of the instruments around. So you would just, pass the smoke over those 4 directions. But you don't have to use a feather. You don't have to use your hand. You can just simply pass the bowl and the wand through those 4 directions. So your other allies, a little bit of mugwort. So some dried mugwort. And honestly, this grows everywhere. It's like a weed. You could probably find it somewhere pretty close to you, just so you know. A really nice thing to notice on the bottom of the mugwort leaf, just like sage, is silvery, which kind of intonates that it's a women's herb. So mugwort for this week, let's say, this is good for tea if you want to make a cup of tea with it before bed. It is pretty grassy, so it's probably not going to taste great. I would maybe blend it with a few other things or just have, try a little bit. And if you're not interested in doing that, we'll talk about some other things that you can do with this next time. So I'm gonna move on. There's lots to talk about. And then we have the mugwort tincture, the teeny tiny little bottle, so cute. that has a half moon on it. And my intention there was, we're working in the liminal space. So half light, half dark, liminal being between wake and sleep. And that's where we want to step into. So with this, the intention, I have her right here. I would normally strain it, but you don't have to because it's 80 proof alcohol, which if you don't like to drink alcohol, you can put it in hot water and the alcohol will burn off, but literally you're just going to use like a drop. So it shouldn't be, it won't be much alcohol content by the time you drink it in a whole cup of water. So that's something that you could do at night, or it's something that you could make part of this whole process, these 3 weeks, taking this just one drop in your water ritually. So just to kind of open up yourself. Done a lot of plant dieting, and that's kind of how we do it, just a little bit every day, little tiny bit, so that over time it starts to go into the waters of your body and you get a little bit closer with that plant. So if you're drinking it in tea, that'll do it too. That's the same thing. It doesn't have to be a rigid and specific way. It's kind of fun to play around with all these different ways, but also good to have a roadmap. So that's what's in the bundle. And that's the ritual for the evening. And then with your altar, yeah, just having a little space, or maybe it's a grand space. I tend to take up all the spaces and make altars everywhere, which is a problem, but it's, it's kind of it's more of a skill to keep space and nothing there, I've seen for myself. I'm like, I could make, plants and crystals and jars and everything everywhere, but just to keep it simple and have your cedar on your nightstand, your altar, a glass of water, and any other instruments that you might want to have with you. Oh, and just so you see it in its form, this is this is the cedar, like from the tree, and it's a little dry. It's definitely not fresh, but that is what it looks like before it's bound. Okay. All right. Let's see what else I have for you. If anybody has questions, feel free to put them in the chat since I'm recording this, and I'll answer them. But we will, after our practice, we will be free to talk in chat, and I can address things too there. So for our journey tonight, now's the time, we're gonna go into that. Let's see. Good question. Okay, so what does mugwort do for dreaming? Holy moly. If you already have vivid dreams, go with caution. Don't use a lot. And honestly, just the times that I did use it for dream work, it just gave me the most vivid dreams that it was just a little overwhelming for me. So I stopped working with that. I was like, okay, it works. Good to know. And the other thing with the mugwort, sorry, that I meant to say, thank you for asking, it being a women's herb means this one in particular, mugwort, is good for cramps. It has a high magnesium content. So if you're taking it as a tea, that's really good for your cycle, like that kind of thing. Just FYI. So it double function, but those are kind of the main things that it's good for. So dream work can be very vivid, which could lead you down the path of lucid dreaming if that's what you're looking to do and you're prepared and you're ready for that. But no, you're going to have some pretty strong opportunities. So it'll probably enhance the quality of your dreams in one way or another. So if your dreams are very uncomfortable right now, maybe don't take it internally. But what you could do is put a little bit, or even use just the sachet and put it in your pillow and just have it like a little bit under your head there or on your headboard, or again, it's just going to be right by your bedside if that's where your altar is. So thank you for asking. Any other questions? We're going to work with Owl as our guide in this threshold kind of place, so the liminal space between wake and sleep. And Owl being a crepuscular animal, creature who hunts right at that space where the sun sets and the sun rises, and that's why. Owl and hawk are very linked in that they hunt in the same place but at different times. So that, combo can be very also powerful for also lucid dreaming if that's something you're looking to do, or just dreams in general. So the owl and the hawk kind of working together to help you, find a path between the light and the dark. So owl as our guide in journey work, we'll see. I mean, that's, who I tend to gravitate to work with for these things. But if you have somebody you already know that you work with, or if somebody else comes along that is more appropriate, please go with it. You do not need to stick with owl if it just isn't right for you. Okay, so if you already know your guides, great. And if you don't, that's the idea. That's why we're going to go into journey work right now to find out who works with us in our sleep. And if you get overwhelmed in journey work, definitely set boundaries. Tell, if it's uncomfortable, tell them it's too much, I'm not ready, or go away unless you're here for the highest good. And then you might need to come out of journey if it's a little too confrontational. So that's, there's so many things to say about journey work, but that's definitely, you do not have to be at the whim of whatever happens in that heighten of imagined state. So when we go into our journey work, generally we start in a place that is familiar, a landscape, and we go down into the earth. I know many of you are very familiar with journey work, so you're gonna just do what you do. But in the beginner's place, we step into a cave, or we go into tree roots, or we go into a waterway, or we ask for somebody to come and meet us and take us where we need to go, and trusting that process. And again, a lot of times when it's at the start and we're just learning journey, it kind of flashes in and out. And it's like, oh, this thing happened, and then I was back, and then I went back into it. And you kind of lose the connection, but you're forging that connection. And that's the sign that you are getting connected, is like you're there for a minute and then you're not. But the times that you're there are going to become more than if they weren't, the more you do it, the more that connection happens. So asking for a guide to come and be with you and take you where you need to go. If you need to meet your council tonight, or maybe it's just one person, and I would suspect quite a few people work with their ancestors in their dreams. There might be other teachers from totally different realms too. So be open and pay attention. And if you think you're making it up, you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's how we get to that place. All right, so that's our work for this week. And I'll send you a recording, so I'm gonna, I send you homework in the email. I'll pop this recording in it. You have a master document, and you have a document about journey work that you have access to. I'm trying to think of what else you might need to know. I think that's it for now. So I'm gonna pause the recording because we're gonna jump into journey. So if you're watching this later, go ahead and hit that track and go into your journey state and then journal. All right, thanks.